Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. It's your boy Token Quan. We're doing a whole different type of stream today, man. Your boy was getting big. So yesterday I took my big black ass to the gym. And today, we're going to be working on the crib. You feel me? I wasn't going to go out there. So I got my kettlebell. I got my old Vintage Vitamaster. We're just going to work out a little bit.
Left-wing hip-hop supporters
get this
are
going.
almost never in the same space. It's rare that you will see those two demographics exist in the same space.
Sheesh.
But that's Andrew Schultz's family.
Oh,
but
man.
Andrew Schultz have managed to
I'm
piss
old.
off both of them with clips from his recent
I can
episode.
feel it. I can feel the burn already.
Only party right now,
Let's set this timer.
to me, seems America first.
This got
Is
an
a
old
Democrat
school
socialist.
vintage timer. God
Bernie
damn, this
is
y'all gotta see how vintage this shit is, man.
And all his ideas that he will not be able to execute, and I frankly think many of them are
Yeah.
not his ideas. But he is no doubt New York first. The policies seem to want to help people here.
Okay.
That's what I care about. If
I can feel the burn already.
First thing back, they gotta start looking at
Motherfucking burn.
lying to Americans.
Let's start there.
Which is Epstein,
Shit. I gotta have music on. I gotta have some music. Oh, I can't do music on YouTube. Damn, I gotta have something going. I gotta have something.
Andrew Schultz's career.
Let's watch something.
You want to show?
Let's watch the LeBron and Steve Nash show. Let's see what this shit about. I've never watched it. Never have I ever watched this shit. I'm lying, I'm flying.
Who's excited for the game? Anyone?
We got wine over out there. Do my mom got my wine still?
Please welcome to the stage Steve Nash and LeBron James.
Yes, sir. Not bad. Not bad. Great turnout. Thank you. Much appreciated. Well, this is Mind the Game, Fanatics Fest, brought to you by Nike. This is actually our last episode of the season. Wow. So, congrats to us. Thank you for all the listens, supports, likes, comments, subscriptions, everything. It's been really an incredible year for us to kind of get a chance to talk hoops, hopefully share some of our experiences.
Those are LeBrons that Steve Nash is
dig
wearing.
into some things around the game that we're passionate about, and today will be no different than that. But a little vino.
We don't do an episode without opening up a bottle of wine. That's just what we do. So, you know, that's how we always kick it off, man. But we're happy to be here. We appreciate y'all in New York City. Stand up. What's up with y'all? And we just want to say thank you guys for allowing us to come talk the game of basketball with y'all, do it at a high level, and we're super appreciative. So, Steve, let's do it.
Let's do it. So who's enjoying the NBA Finals? Game 7. So Game 7, right? We have.
Hey, Bron really a nigga,
Game
bro.
7 in NBA
This nigga
Finals
really got
history.
some
If
wine
the
over
rules are truthful,
Yeah,
which is
that's
incredible, right?
That's the shit we gotta be
playing
creative.
Game 7s. I want to hear more about
You don't know how to
Game
use
7,
it. Use the
particularly
clamp,
in the
brody.
Finals, but.
Yeah.
Let's also pay some respect to these two incredible
Right,
teams. Oklahoma City,
There you
yes,
go.
Oklahoma City. Any OKC fans out there? Okay, a few. Any Pacers fans out there? Why would that be?
I love those Pacers. Fucked up.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for Knicks fans, this Pacers team, though, we have to say is one of the greatest greatest stories in NBA history, like it or not. Like it or not. I mean, a lot of players that were cast aside, that have been on the trade block, that have been maybe not NBA playoff rotation guys, quote unquote, who have absolutely come together to play fantastic basketball. We've said it before on the pod, coaching staff deserves a lot of credit too, but you see a lot of the ingredients of great basketball teams. IQ, connectivity, toughness. Their defense has gone to another level.
Yo, Steve Nash look like motherfucker. If you hit, you know. He like I'm coach from 7th grade. He like Mr. Vitamaster,
right now,
nigga.
obviously both of them are
I'm lying, I'm
respected
flying,
and
nigga.
you know, with the Pacers team, obviously you guys saw a lot of them too in the last round, but you know, the way they move the ball, the pace and space that they play with, I think, you know, the best gift that the Pacers have is the unselfishness of Halliburton.
You streaming
I think
anything
his
too,
ability
nigga.
to
Who else you know streaming that is on a damn bike? Matter of fact, we start getting viewers in this bitch. I won't get off this bitch. I stay on this bitch.
What the Pacers are doing, you know, with their pace and space, you know, getting the ball up, you know, letting Pascal, you know, go against the defense before it's set. You know, I think it's just it's a great way to the game of basketball that the Pacers are playing right now.
For sure. I would say this about Tyrese. I think he's one of the greatest simple early passers I've ever seen. You know, sometimes when you have great vision like Tyrese, you want to hold it to make that killer pass.
Yeah, home run. Right.
You would think I can get something better, and you might hold it for a second. I think we've both felt that at times.
Right.
But sometimes he just gets rid of it, and what that does is it makes the defense unsettled. Because they can't cheat, they can't help, they're always in a bind. So I think he's one of the greatest simple early passers of all time, and a big part of their success.
And they were going away
What's
Halliburton.
fellas?
No, Halliburton? Niggas don't fuck with Halliburton? What's going on?
Yes, sir. I see it.
That's great. That's great. Well, let's talk about some things that we learned this year in the NBA. I got 3 bullet points. The first one being pace and depth.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit of your perspective on how those two are fit together and how that's changed compared to maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
No, I just think it's been, present all year. You know, how quickly Cleveland ran their sets from start to finish. Obviously, the 2 teams that we have in the finals. You know, that pace and that depth, to be able to continue the energy does not die down when they make substitution patterns. You know, we talked about in one of our pods when TJ McConnell comes into the game, their pace actually goes higher. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when Alex Caruso,
What's going on?
also,
Niggas ain't showing no respect to the king.
To have that pace and that quickness getting in and out of your sets, having the depth that they have, it allows you to always be energized, and those guys are playing like they're playing
They ain't showing no
high-level
respect to the
basketball.
king. Crazy work.
We've seen in a long time.
Crazy work.
It's great. I mean, you nailed it. And I think we went through an era where we were trying to find 3 stars. But what happens when you have a team built on 3 stars if it's not built from the ground floor up, like through the draft? When you sign free agents, you have 3 stars. What happens is 1, you're at risk for injury in your team. But 2, the game is played so fast and so physically nowadays. The 3 stars have a hard time keeping that level of both ends of the floor.
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of falls apart, both ends. And so we're seeing these 2 teams with depth. I mean, Rick Carlisle's
Break that first piece of
guys
sweat.
who weren't even on the team earlier in the year. Tony Bradley wasn't even in a rotation. Guys are fluctuating in and out of the rotation. Like Mather had played himself out of the rotation at times here, having a big impact in the finals. So that depth becomes so important so they can keep up the physicality and pace. It's been really interesting to see the 2 teams, one built from the ground floor, one just built by, quote unquote, scraps around the league they put together that were undervalued, and we're seeing them come together and play beautiful basketball. So I agree with you like that.
Feel the burn, baby. Feel the burn.
Finals that's making an impact, or like you said, those guys that were either giving up from the previous teams. You look at Lee Smith.
Right.
You know, I feel like
Toppin.
Obi Toppin. I feel like here Obi Toppin didn't get an opportunity to flourish as much. Lee Smith, when he was drafted by Boston, didn't get an opportunity to flourish. You look at Hartsfield,
Feel it.
OKC. What he was able to do for y'all franchise last year, but bring that toughness to the OKC Thunder. Alex Caruso, obviously, we've seen what he's been able to do. But all these complementary guys is what build teams. It's what build winning programs and winning franchises. And like you said, I played in the era as well as of the Big 3 era. game is starting to shift again to how can we create the most depth, but also how can we create the most energy life? Right? How can we have the most shelf life out on the floor, you know, to be able to sustain, okay, maybe sustain an injury or sustain a run throughout the course of a game where guys will come in and it's affections all game long. So you said it.
Right. Right now, you have to be able to continue to play with pace and physicality. If your pace and your physicality drops, you know what I mean, you're going to go through a period of the game where you're going to give up a 10, 15-point run. How are we doing here? Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
So the next bullet point, you guys want LeBron to wave again? There we go. There we go. The next bullet point I have is defensive speed.
Yeah.
Teams are playing with pace. They're spreading the floor so far. You have to have speed. You got to have an abundance of speed.
Yeah, here.
To be able to cover bigger spaces than we had to cover in previous generations.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the two teams now when you talk about the defensive speed, they're so far different in contrast, but they're kind of similar and same. You know, you look at OKC, it's a lot of guys that's super scrappy, super flying around. They do a good job of being in the gaps, getting out the gaps, making you drive, and then when the ball hits the paint, it's like a swarm. Like all 4 or 5 guys are in the paint, either reaching for the ball or getting taps. You know, loose balls, and the ball hits the ground, first to the ground. You know, and you look at the contrast with them and the Pacers, they have a lot more lengthier guys. You know, like you said, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, you know, Neesmith, you know, Miles Turner. You know, a lot of even Tyrese is range as well. So, you know, the contrast and styles are very different, but the speed, the way they play, and the physicality that they play with defensively are very similar.
And mobility. You got to be able to move in different directions, cover guys with different responsibilities.
We out here. We out here.
League that have 2 or 3 guys that can pick up 94 feet and make you turn. The Pacers have Neesmith, Nembhard, you know, TJ McConnell, those guys pick up. OKC, they come in with Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, you know, Casey Wallace. All those guys are coming in and picking up 94 feet, and it's just changing the game defensively, trying to wear on you. So there's not many teams in our league that can put 3 or 4 guys out on the floor that can pick up 94 feet and just make you change directions. And that's why these 2 teams are in the finals right now, I think.
Right. Another indicator of the depth for me is matchups. Like, you know, this game is about fights. Like, the styles make fights, and so let's break it down to even individual matchups. You know, against the Knicks, you know, Nembhard really struggled with Jalen Brunson, but Neesmith was able to cause him some problems. It flips. So now Nembhard, who grew up playing against Shea, is able to cause Shea some problems. Right. Neesmith struggles with Shea, so it's always about a little bit of styles. One that I think is really fascinating, and I want to give him a big shout out, is TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
He is finding his way into the paint relentlessly against incredible defenders. He's getting by Alex Caruso. He's getting by guys like Jalen Williams. These are elite defenders. TJ's a matchup problem for them with his pace, his shiftiness, getting underneath. He's got his little underneath dribble. He's got his little fadeaway. It's so fascinating to me to realize that elite defenders can still struggle with different players. Have you seen that in your career?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at TJ McConnell and what he's able to do right now in the finals, I think we all look at it like, how was he able to be so successful? You look at TJ, he's not the tallest guy, not the fastest guy, doesn't jump, doesn't have a huge vertical, you know, but I think it's here and it's wheel.
Yeah.
Every time I take a break off the bike, it's 5 push-ups. Every time I take a break. You gotta penalize yourself at the same time of award yourself.
I think the one thing about TJ McConnell is that when you look at a scout report and you read about guys, you know what their go-to moves is. You know what
you gotta penalize yourself.
You know what they least like to do.
At the same time, while awarding
TJ, you don't know what he's going to do. It's just so random with TJ. You don't know when he's going to pull up the shoes, fade away in the paint. You don't know if he's going to dribble.
I gotta take a break. It's 5 push-ups now.
Underneath the basket and then go to his fadeaway. And he's doing that not only when Alex Caruso is guarding him, Casey Wallace is guarding him. He's even done it against Hartenstein and also Chet.
Yeah, right.
You know, so he's doing that versus everybody. So I think him not being a player that you kind of key in on certain things that he do, you know, he like to go to, has made him be so successful in the finals so far.
For sure. I think, like you said, you don't know what he's going to do. One thing you do know he's not looking for is the three, which makes it fascinating because you know, like, okay, he's not going to pull up for three, so you think, let me give him a gap. But he uses that gap.
Right.
He gets a momentum.
Yeah, a la Rajon Rondo. That's what made Rajon Rondo so great.
Right.
You know, the fact that you knew he was not going to be taking any threes, but he eated up the space, and by the time he was up on you, it was too late. And I think TJ has definitely learned. He's found that rhythm, and he's a big time player.
For sure, he uses pace, and he also uses change of pace, and he uses the entire floor. So it doesn't matter if he has to beat his guy half court, or his guy's dropping to the free throw line, or he's on the sideline, he fakes a pitch and he goes.
Yeah.
Just incredible intelligence, and he's been, it sounds weird to say, the biggest matchup nightmare. Anybody other than Pascal. I think Hallie's more of the sets the table.
Right.
Pascal's been a matchup problem, and TJ's been a matchup problem.
I absolutely agree with you. You just don't know. You don't know what TJ is going to do out on the floor. So it's hard to scout for a guy like that, you know. And you know, like you said, Pascal being a matchup problem for anybody, but also TJ's pace and space, man, and his will to go out there and dominate, you know, at his level. It's fascinating to watch, man. It's great. It's great basketball.
Thank you to our partner Nike for sponsoring this episode. Here's what 2 decades in the NBA taught me about winning. It's not just talent, it's not just opportunity. It's about the choices you make when no one's watching. Those 3 a.m. workouts? Choice. Extra reps while others rest? Choice. Film review sessions deep into the night? Another conscious choice. I've lived this journey, from Santa Clara to NBA MVP. And now, mentoring the next generation, I see different challenges and different pressures. But the fundamental truth remains. The ones who break records, the ones who transform their games, the ones who elevate their teammates, they're all choosing to work harder, making that deliberate decision to push beyond limits, to redefine what's possible. Because in those quiet moments, those grinding hours, that's where winners are built. Winning isn't just something that happens, you make it happen. As Nike would say, you just do it.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, you know, early in the year, the NBA took a little bit of a beating. You know, I think publicly people thought, oh, the game's the same, the regular season doesn't matter, people are playing the same style. You know, we really focused in on that kind of consistently during this podcast season to kind of figure out, like, what is true here? What is, yeah. What is great about our game, right? And we've come to the conclusion, we hope you'll agree, the game is amazing.
No, the game is the best it's ever been.
The game is as good as it's ever been for sure. The pace and space era, a lot of threes. You know, some people can have a problem with that perhaps, but the reality is
I just realized I got the wrong camera on for y'all.
We're stretching the floor, we're playing with pace, we're playing more jazz than classical. We're not playing off the same playbook every time down, we're playing read and react basketball. So I think once people start to recognize that people are reading and reacting, using their brains, playing on the fly, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
No, absolutely. I mean, you just said it best. You know, Steve, I think the playmaking that goes on early. I mean, I remember we did an earlier pod this year on one of our episodes.